Hi guys, welcome to Chris Ryan Golf. We are in the Callaway fitting suite today at the Belfry, and we're going to do a video looking at the wrists in the backswing and discussing when we should set those wrists to give us the optimum sort of position at the top to deliver the club into the golf ball. When we set the wrists in the backswing is a question which does crop up quite often with clients that we see through here at the Academy. It's one of the questions that we do get posed. People are maybe a little bit unsure about when to set the wrists in the golf swing. So the first thing I would say is that there is no correct answer to this question. There is no your wrist should set at this point. We do see a little bit of differences when we watch the best players in the world, what they do, the ones who've got the sort of technically the very good golf swings. So it is a little bit individual, but there are certain guidelines that we sort of want to look for. So certain golfers would tend to set the wrists quite late. Bubba Watson would be a good example of this, maybe a Tiger Woods, maybe a Sergio Garcia. They tend to have a slightly later wrist set. Justin Rose, since he's been working with Sean Foley, tends to have a slightly earlier wrist set. So we do see these differences. But what we would see is a general pattern through that golf swing. So what we're looking to do, well, the two extremes, so very late wrist set and very early wrist set, we'd want to try and avoid if we can. So very late wrist set would be when we move away this way, very, very late wrist set, and the wrists tend to set as the last sort of completion of the backswing. We do see this quite a lot. This is often from the golfers who are trying to achieve some more width in their golf swing. They're trying to achieve, some width in the backswing, believing this is going to give them more power, and they tend to believe that the width is the club head to the sort of body. So they're trying to not set the wrist, get that club as wide away from them as they can. When they do set the wrists, however, they tend to find they struggle to sort of control the golf club at the end of the golf swing. So we certainly want to avoid the feeling of setting the wrists as late as we can. Equally, we want to try and avoid setting the wrists far too early in the golf swing. This is really going to probably start to get you almost too narrow. You're probably going to find that you're not going to turn the shoulders. When you do turn the shoulders, you'll end up with a very narrow position here, quite close to that back shoulder. So early and late we want to try and avoid. We want to try and find a nice blend where we're making a nice takeaway, rotating the body but starting to set the wrists as we get through. So what do we tend to see as most common? Well, most common would be either lead arm horizontal, club vertical. So that would be a little bit more like this, where I've got my lead arm level with the ground and the club has achieved a vertical position. That would be sort of maybe more like a Justin Rose, relatively standard wrist set, happens nicely, through that first half of the golf swing. Doesn't really look particularly strange or particularly different, but we get a nice turn of the body as the wrists begin to work up and we achieve this position here. The other one we tend to see would be a slightly later wrist set. Now this is going to be more your sort of Tiger Woods, your Sergios, where at that left arm level with the ground point, we haven't quite got that club to vertical. It's going to keep setting up to here and it's going to achieve its full set about 3/4 the way into the backswing. So those are the two most common that we see, and so those would be sort of more preferable if we were looking at it from a face-on view as to what we would maybe try and coach. I do tend to see a lot of people who set the wrists a little early, but I do also tend to see a lot of people who are trying to achieve too much width who don't achieve the wrist set early enough in the golf swing. So as I say, we want to try and avoid those two. We want to try and fall into the sort of middle two that we discussed, where it's left arm horizontal, the club is about vertical or just approaching vertical. In a good golf swing, the angle that we set in the wrist would increase or decrease, depending on which way you look at the angle, as we complete from the backswing to the downswing, so as we enter the transition phase. We're not really going to discuss that too much in this video. We're just looking at this backswing position, and we're just looking at whether we can achieve a good wrist set. So a really, really simple drill that you can do is take a setup to a golf ball. So I'm just going to take my setup to this one. Directly behind that golf ball, around about 3, maybe 3.5 feet, just place another golf ball. Well, I say a golf ball, it can be anything really, a tee peg or just some sort of object. And what we're going to do is basically take a starting position, and as I reach the position with my left arm about horizontal, I want to feel that the grip end of the club is pointing somewhere down towards that golf ball. That's going to give me a good indication that I've set those wrists at the right point of my golf swing. I've not early set or late set. So we're just going to do that again. So turn away, set the wrist, and that's going to be in that point there, left arm horizontal. If you're a late wrist setter, you're going to find that by the time your left arm reaches horizontal, the club is still pointing somewhere at you, and it hasn't really begun to set down at the ground. So it's just going to give you some really good feedback as to what kind of golfer you are, which sort of category you fall into, and you can maybe work towards what would be classed as a bit more a bit more normal, a bit more natural, a bit more sort of a bit more natural, I should say. So it will help you. If we can set the wrist correctly, you'll be able to stabilise the top of your backswing better, get a bit more structure to the top of your backswing, and that's only going to be good for the downswing and obviously into impact. So let me go ahead and hit one. I've just got a 7 on here, so I'm just going to make a normal backswing. I tend to be a little bit of a late wrist setter, which is actually something I do tend to work on, because it does put me in some sort of positions that I don't really want to be. So I'm just going to try and set this a little earlier and go ahead and hit it. Okay, that felt pretty good. Certainly tried to feel like I set the wrist a little earlier, tried to achieve this sort of left arm horizontal, club vertical position. And when I do that, I do find that my top of the backswing is a little bit more controlled. It's a little bit shorter as well, and that does help me out on the golf course to control the ball flight a little bit more. So hopefully that makes sense. It might be something for you to go and look at the range using a reflection or a mirror, or even if you can video your golf swing from a sort of camera or an iPad or something like that, it will help you, and you can have a look at those sort of checkpoints that we gave you there and see, kind of say which category you fall into. So thanks for watching the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Post any comments you have down below. And if you haven't done already, please click the subscribe button. These videos are going up weekly, 2 or 3 a week, different topics, different discussions, different shots, that kind of thing. So hopefully you'll find them interesting and useful, and it might help you play some better golf when you get out there on the course. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.